Hola mi gente de TechVidPlay, aquí nuevamente en el día 2 del Fan Expo de Dallas y nos encontramos con nada más y nada menos que Tom King. Hi Tom King, how are you today?
What a pleasure. I wish I'd spoke enough Spanish to say hi in the right way, but thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
It's okay, that's why we're here. Thank you for this interview. It's gonna be short. We're gonna have a couple questions about it. The first question is, how did you got into comics when you were a kid?
I mean, I'm of that generation where, my mother was a pack-a-day smoker, and so those parents would go and they'd go to the newsstand to buy some cigarettes, and I think they'd feel guilty, so they buy a comic to throw at their kid, be like, you'd be stuck in the car while they were buying cigarettes. So my mother bought some cigarettes, bought me Avengers 300, threw it at me, and I was addicted from then on out, by Walt Simonson and John Buscema.
Great. So once you got into comic books, what character hooked you in? What was the character you said, like, this is for me?
I mean, I was Avengers guy as a kid. Yeah, I was the Tom Palmer Avengers. I like team books more than characters, but I went, I'd go with different characters. Like sometimes I'd be really into Thor, sometimes I'd be really into Iron Man, sometimes Flash was big for me when I was a kid, especially Wally West Flash with the Mark Waid stuff, and I moved from character to character, and I go bin diving and get all the history from it, and I just become whatever I was obsessed with that week. Yeah.
Great. My other next question is, when was the time that you say, I want to be a comic book writer?
I mean, I can't remember when I didn't want to become a comic book writer. Yeah, there's something about comic books that when you read them, you want to participate in them. I don't know, it's because the author is so close to you, or it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to do, or just because, I don't know, comics were my life as a kid. That's when I couldn't throw balls into hoops, I couldn't run fast, but I could sit in a corner and read, like that's what I was good at. So I always wanted to be in it. My mother was an entertainment executive. She did not want me to do it. She wanted me to be a lawyer or a doctor. That was my mother. But I went the other way, so don't tell her.
Okay. So just gonna start wrapping this up. So since when you start writing comic books to now, what have you learned in this industry? In the way that you write, I know that every time you write a 12th issue of a character like Mr. Miracle, there's nothing like you expect to do. You did it with Rorschach, you do it with Mr. Miracles, you did it with Visions. What was the evolution when you started?
I mean, I think the most thing that's evolved is how much of writing is communicating with your readership. It's not just about, you got to express yourself, you got to put yourself in there, but it's also about creating a connection between you and the reader, finding something in you that's also in them that can talk to each other. And learning how to do that, I think, is the key to success. Something unique about you that's unique about them that you can meet in the middle and be like, we share something together. And finding that, and it's almost like hitting the right note and vibing together. That's the trick to it.
And for the last question, for these young people that are growing up in this age, what advice will you give to them if they want to write something, they're not sure if to do it? The parents want to tell them, don't be a YouTuber, don't be a lawyer, stick to the plan. What you want to tell to them?
I will say this, my God, I have a very strict mother, and she said, look, if you get good grades, if you study hard and get good grades, you will be, maybe you can become a successful writer. I think she was lying at the time just to get me to study, but it effing worked, man. I studied real hard, I read all the books I was supposed to read, I did my math homework, and I got the good grades, and that works. So if you're a kid, man, do school right, learn it. Learn all the stuff, and then live a little life. That's what I did in my 20s. Don't be a writer right away. Go live a little life, get a job, fall in love, get your heart broken, find out what it is to be alive, and then become a writer.
If you don't get your heart broken, you can't write Vision, right?
That's very true, yeah. Exactly.
they made a show out of it,
yeah.
guys. And what would you like? I know you have read almost everything. You spent 4 years writing Batmans. What is the next character that you want to explore?
It's never important. I think every character can be good. So when I start out, I always say, give me a character. Like Vision was given to me. Mr. Miracle was given to me. That's usually where we go. But I have dreams. I grew up a Marvel zombie. I'd love to do some Marvel stuff one day. I'd love to do Fantastic Four and The Thing. Someday, if I get to the other side, it'd be cool.
I want you to make Hawkman and Hawkwoman 12 issue like the most grounded that it can be. That would be awesome.
Man, I'd love to. I like Hawkman, man, because he's big and buff and he punches.
Especially with the new movie, just talk to Jin Lee. He's right there. It's like,
I'll
come
call
on,
Jim.
guys.
I'll call Jim too.
Yeah. But thank you for the opportunity. I hope you have an excellent career like you've been doing. In. If there's something that you're doing that we can talk about it, or what else are you writing right now to tell people just to grab it at the moment?
I mean, the big issue that's coming out is Batcat 12 is coming out in 2 weeks, and that's the big wedding. That's them getting married. So get to your comic shop early because that's going to sell out.
So you hear it, guys? This time they're getting married this time?
I wrote it. It came out.
Okay. It's getting married. So go to your comic book store and buy the book. Thank you, guys. Y bueno, gente, gracias por compartir con nosotros este bonito día. No se pierdan todo el contenido que les vamos a seguir trayendo. Sigan dándole like para que no se pierdan los nuevos videos que les va a dar YouTube para que siga viendo el contenido de nosotros. No se olvide suscribirte, comentar y díganos qué parte fue la más que le gustó de esta convención. Nuevamente mi nombre es Eduardo Negrón, mejor conocido como Ed, y hablamos hasta la próxima. Bye.